One of the biggest improvements I made in my running journey and got much faster was the advice from a cyclist, a professional cyclist, which was to train less and eat more. And it's great advice because usually what we're trying to do as runners, and especially if you're trying to kind of optimize what you can achieve in running, is you're trying to sort of get as lean as possible, get as light as possible, and get as fast as possible at the same time. And in order to do that, you only need to focus on getting fast. And as a byproduct, you will lose fat, you will lose weight as a byproduct. It has to be as a byproduct. If you're trying to get as light as you possibly can in one part, and also trying to get as fast as you're probably going to break down in some way, because you're probably not going to be as strong as you need. You're probably not going to have the muscle mass that you need if you're trying to lose weight whilst thinking. If you do it as a byproduct, it's going to work naturally. Having said that, these things will work really well for you. Number one, hydrate. Make sure you hydrate optimally. So 2 liters a day is absolute minimum. And if you're out there and if you're sweating a lot and if you're doing a lot of training, it's going to be much more than that. So keep a check on that and make sure you're hydrated. Second thing is start eating right and eating the healthy foods. It's actually not rocket science. If you ask anybody what the right foods, what the right things to eat are, 99 times out of 100, people will be able to tell you what the right things to have. The breakdown comes that the wrong things are actually in the cupboards, the wrong things are in the fridge when people come to get hungry. So if you start your diet when you're actually shopping, so ideally online shopping, so that you can have a full meal, then go and shop, or have a full meal, then go to the supermarket. That's going to help you. So be full when you go to the supermarket or you go to online shopping, and then you're going to make the right decisions. So the next thing is when you're shopping. So it's impossible to eat badly and eat the wrong foods if they're just not available in your house. It's almost impossible. Obviously, you're going to be out there. You can make the wrong decisions when you're in a restaurant, whatever. It's a little bit more difficult. But if the wrong things are not in your house, it's impossible to eat them. So make the right decisions. So think about your week, your 2 week, your month, however long you're shopping for, and bring the right foods into your house. Simple as that. So the next point I would say is we used to having a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 3 big meals. If you think of your body and your metabolism like a factory, so if you've got a massive amount of work to give to the workers in the factory, and there's a surplus, it's probably going to come out in terms of fat. So if you have a massive meal for breakfast, if you have a massive meal for lunch, if you have a massive meal for dinner, there's going to be a surplus, and that's going to not kind of metabolize well if your metabolism is not firing on all cylinders, and there's going to be a surplus, and that surplus is usually fat. It's usually kind of overweight, bloated, and you know that feeling when you've overeaten? That's because you're eating 3 big meals. Split that up into 6 meals. So you're kind of having smaller portions. So after you're running in the morning, you have something like a smoothie. Then you'll have something maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours later, which to me is porridge, 100 grams of dry weight porridge. So that will fill my hunger for quite a long time, 3 or 4 hours. But I'll eat before that, and that'll be another smoothie. So if you just kind of have a smaller breakfast, a smaller lunch, and a smaller dinner, but in between there put smoothies, and I love banana smoothies with protein in, so the right amount of macronutrients are going in. And I don't want to get into that, but it's easy to Google and figure out approximately what you need to be eating. It's going to be carbohydrate high. You're going to be able to find out the right fats online for you. So great avocados, great stuff like that, and then the right amount of proteins for you. And we've been sold for a long time the amount of protein that we actually need to eat. It's actually very small. For a distance runner, for a body, it doesn't matter what you're doing in sport, you actually don't need to eat as much protein as you are, but it's useful for you, yeah? So look at that. But break it into 6 smaller meals rather than 3 big meals. Simple as that. And then the first meal of the day, I would say work for it. Work for that first meal. So I will get up, I'll drink water, I'll have coffee, and then I'll go out and run. And then once I've done that run, I'll reward myself with that first meal of the day, which is I love it. It's a great smoothie. It kind of tastes like almost like ice cream. 5 bananas, almond milk, seeds, all the good stuff. Blended it in a smoothie. I feel great afterwards, and that will then be about an hour and a half, and then I'll have my porridge. So work for your first meal, and then what you're doing is you're putting your body into a point where it's been fasting overnight for at least 8 hours. Hopefully you're having really good sleep, and good sleep will really help your diet. It'll help you make good decisions. You will realize that if you haven't had enough sleep, you need to have things in order to kind of give yourself the energy that you need. If you've had really good sleep, if you haven't had good sleep, you need to give yourself foods that give you the energy in order to get through your day. If you've had really good sleep, you don't need to do that, and you can kind of make good decisions. You'll naturally make good decisions. You'll be more productive. You'll be more creative at work. You'll be able to run, and it will feel easier because you've had good sleep, because you're energized, right? And then that's the first thing. I'd work for my first meal of the day, and then give myself a lot of calories, and that'll naturally go into the body really easy. Because it's in smoothie format, you think of the surface area that's being broken down by a metabolism, it's in liquid format, so a lot of that is going into your body. And then second breakfast of the day, I would call it, is my porridge, which gives me long-term, really, really great nutrients. It's got all the good stuff, all the great seeds, etc. Loads of nutrients, loads of vitamins. And then I'd say your last meal of the day, like try not to eat within it's not a big thing this, but try not to eat within 2 hours of going to bed. Why? Your sleep is going to be better if you go to sleep on almost an empty stomach. Almost an empty stomach. You're not hungry when you go to sleep, but you've not just eaten. A lot of people, because of their work day, will kind of get home at 7-8 o'clock in the evening, will do something, maybe kind of send a couple more emails, maybe kind of try and do a quick workout. Before they know it, it's 11-12 o'clock at night and they haven't eaten, so they need to eat something, and either they'll under-eat that last meal of the day before they go to bed, or they'll overeat and then go to sleep, and then the blood is going to the stomach, and it won't give you the sleep that you need. So what I would say is, if you need to kind of that last meal of the day, I have two spoonfuls of almond butter, and that puts a cap on my hunger. But before that, I'll have a good meal within kind of 2.5, 3 hours before going to sleep. And that will be a full, really good meal, which will include rice, it'll include chickpeas and lentils and things like that. And it will be a really good nutrient-full meal. So yeah, those are good points. And if you can hit those and put those into your schedule, and that's the key point, you got to kind of like move those from initial knowledge and motivation to wanting to do those. But if you can hit those and put them into your schedule and then regularly do them and make them habits, you're going to move forward so much faster.